progress, and above all, the growth of this nation, which is, I think, all of us. And we award people who are very faithfully going through the Ang Matuwid, the No Wang Wang vision of our president. So all the awardees here were vetted with my co-founders and my regular members here, consisting of media personalities, credible media personalities. And yes, and I'm very happy about the membership here, sir. And we started when President Cory lifted all the controls and we went back to freedom. We started in 1986, and we've been here in this lovely hotel by the bay. Thank you, Mr. Laker, for 27. Every Tuesday lunch, we have a subsidized buffet lunch. Thank you. And we're very proud to say that we pay for our own meals. But of course, the guest speaker usually hosts us. So, thank you very much. I'm giving away all the secrets of Bulong Pulungan. No, but honestly, it means, for those who, Bulong means whisper and gossip, and then the Pulungan is the town meeting afterwards. This is a no-holds-barred media briefing and exchange of ideas every Tuesday. And we've gone the gamut from lifestyle to political things and to environment, science, and all that. So we look forward to another year. Thank you for coming to our anniversary again. And we thank you to our media friends who are here too and who always support us. But Mr. President, my heartfelt thanks. Thank you. May we request His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino to witness the awarding of our exemplars, sir. And to read the citations will be our friend, Press Secretary Sani.
Our first awardee is for exemplary volunteerism. This organization is a sterling example of the ordinary becoming extraordinary, of citizens seeking to be heroes, of faith translating to compassion. For 10 years of public service, or more precisely serving the poor, this organization has created unheard-of templates for poverty intervention and bringing this to inspiring levels of success. Proof is that there are over 2,000 communities that have been transformed, the once hopeless to now say, naghihirap kami pero hindi na kami mahirap. Today, that ragtag army of ordinary Filipinos are considered heroes in the work of nation building from the ground up. Our first awardee for exemplary volunteerism is Gawad Kalinga. May we call the leader of Gawad Kalinga, Mr. Antonio Meloto, to receive the award. And the second, may we call on Mrs. Meloto to join Mr. Tony Meloto. In the meantime, I would like to read out the second award, which is an award for the ordinary volunteer. He's a native of Southern Leyte, member of the medical staff in the capital town of Southern Leyte. He has worked with the Gawad Kalinga in various places and is now regarded as a brother's keeper with the courage to care, a brave heart, a nation builder, a Gawad Kalinga worker, a Filipino. This exemplar award is given to the face of the ordinary volunteer, Dr. Jerome Rodriguez Paler. Our third award is an exemplar award in corporate social responsibility. Under the leadership of our awardee, his organization has allocated 3 billion pesos for the construction of thousands of classrooms under its Matuwid na Daan sa Silid-Aralan school building program. And apart from providing 50,000 packs of relief goods to thousands of families in Eastern Visayas, his organization is also planning to help rehabilitate public schools in the Visayas that were severely damaged by Typhoon Yolanda. Our awardee, as an exemplar in corporate social responsibility, is the Chairman and CEO of PAGCOR, Mr. Cristino Nagiat Jr. The next exemplar award is being given for courage, integrity, and sheer grit in pursuing the path to justice despite the many obstacles and the personalities standing in their way. The Bulong Pulungan sa Sofitel Media Forum honors her with pride and continuing best wishes. Commissioner Kim Jacinto Henares of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Our next award is for an outstanding public servant. He has transformed his department from an agency once preoccupied with basic technologies to one that stretches the bounds of our technological limits. The Philippines is today's center for weather and climate change information within ASEAN. He established the NOAA, or National Operational Assessment of Hazards. Our awardee is Secretary Mario Montejo of the Department of Science and Technology. And our next awardee is another exemplary public servant. She's being honored for courage, integrity, and sheer grit in pursuing the path to justice, for daring to break gender stereotypes with a firm, uncompromising stance and steely determination to pursue wrongdoers, and for making all Filipinos believe that there is still a daang matuwid, provided we all pull together and keep our sights on the bigger goal of good governance and public accountability. Our awardee, Secretary Laila De Lima. Our next awardee is for corporate governance. He has led his organization in establishing a culture of service excellence in line with its vision and mission, for regaining the trust and confidence of more than 1.7 million members and pensioners by making his organization transparent, consultative, and member-focused. Our awardee is the President and General Manager of the GSIS, Mr. Robert Vergara. And our next awardee will be presented by Ms. Joanne Ramirez.
The Bulong Pulungan Core Group would like to present the Outstanding Exemplar Award to President Benigno Simeon Aquino III, whom the Bulong Pulungan members call their Man of Steel. Man of Steel indeed. Tried and tested by adversity, but unbowed and unbroken, President Benigno S. Aquino III rebuilt an economy from the rubble of past mismanagement, steering the Philippines in early 2013 to be the fastest growing economy in Asia, and now the fastest growing economy in Asia. He has presided with compassion and sensitivity over the Herculean task of rebuilding and rehabilitation of areas devastated by a killer quake and Typhoon Yolanda, with the same resolve and transparency with which he has governed the nation since 2010. His reformist government aims to show that in good times and in bad, it is a clean government that will always make life better for the Filipino people. And may I call the rest of the Bulong Pulungan Core Group for the privilege of standing on the same stage as our President and awardee. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the Outstanding Exemplar Award to our Man of Steel, President Benigno Simeon Aquino III.
You won't understand my handwriting. Okay.
You have a ball pen? May we now call on Press Secretary Sani Coloma to introduce our guest of honor. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen and friends, His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III, President, Republic of the Philippines.
Maraming salamat po. Maupo tayong lahat. At magandang tanghali po. Secretary Sani Coloma, Senator Cynthia Villar, Ms. Didi Sitanco, Ms. Julia Abdasa, awardees of the 27th Annual Bulong Pulungan, namely Secretary Laila de Lima, Secretary Mario Montejo, Commissioner Kiminares, GSIS President and General Manager Bernie Vergara, PAGCOR Chair Magagat, Gawad Kalinga Chair Tony Miloto, Dr. Jerome Paler, Solicitor General Francis Ardelesa, MIA General Manager Jose Angel Honrado, members of Bulong Pulungan, Federal Works and Government, honored guests, mga minamahal kong kababayan, magandang tanghali po muli. Pang-apat na po nating pag-aharap to sa Bulong Pulungan. At kanina umaga po, nung binabasa ko yung talumpati, sabi ko parang hindi yata sulit to sa Bulong Pulungan, parang kulang. No? Ang talagang pleasure naman humarap sa inyo. No? You get to meet professional and responsible journalists who do not have an agenda. Pero dahil nga ho doon, dapat naman angkop ang sasabihin natin sa inyo ngayon. Okay. Siyempre, napakahirap po. Paano po tayo mag-iisip ng panibago na newsworthy pa every year? No? Tsaka more or less on schedule, regardless of the situation that's happening. And that is the challenge before me. Some of you might have noticed I was scribbling on a pad earlier. This is the replacement of the speech. And I apologize to my writers. It says it starts out with then Yolanda. Sa araw napag-isip ako, bakit kaya nag-i-spell ng spy? Itong tatlong to. And I looked at sabi ko, pero wala naman yatang, mahirap nang dikitan yung spy. Sana wag naman maging spying. No, hanggang spy na lang tayo. But anyway, let me start out with ball. Dumating tayo sa ball, pangatong bisita ko na ho yata itong last. At palagi ko alam naman yun, isang beses nga ako, nung maraming nag-aalala dahil dito sa aftershocks kung mas malala pa talaga ang mangyayari, nagdesisyon tayo makitulog sa kanila at mapadama sa kanilang sinasabi natin mga scientists, tapos na ang pinakamalaking parte nitong trahedyang to at nakidamay tayo sa kanila. Nung panahon yun, daming mga simbahan talagang gumuho, mga munisipyo hindi na magamit, kuryente na talagang parang ang hirap isipin paano maibabalik. Siyempre mga taong ang laki ng panukso para dumapa na lang at sumuko. Kaya naman itong pagbalik ko sa ball, nakalipas sa linggo lang, talagang bilib na bilib ako na hindi lang sila yumuko at hindi sila dumapa. Bagkus, talagang nakatindig na at pinag-iisip bukasan. Tila walang nangyari sa pananaw ng napakaraming mga kausap natin. Katapat namin ng 2 tulay, temporary bridge pa nga. Pero talaga doon parang daman-dama ko na kung paano palaban talaga ang mga taga-Bohol. At maski na hindi pa ang pangangailangan nila, alam naman po nyo, yung kuryente nila, dumadaan sa Leyte, nadamay pa yung geothermal plant sa Leyte, nagme-brownout pa rin sila na 6 hours a day. Pero maski may kahirapan, talagang palaban na palaban. So doon po ako napag-isip. Tila kadalasan nakakalimutan, lalo na pag nagbabasa tayo ng mga dyaryo, nakikinig ng radyo, nanonood ng TV, talagang siguro ganun ho talagang kalakaran na patuloy pa rin yung tinatawag na negativism cells. Pag hindi tayo naghanap o hindi tayo gumawa ng controversial issue, parang boring yung ating media. Problema ho dun, nakakalimutan naman natin yung mga tao na talaga namang may ginawa para ibsan ang kahirapan o pagdadalamhati ng ating mga kababayan. At ito siguro pagkakataon at palagay ko itong angkop na panahon para naman magpasalamat. At ako na magpapasalamat sa ngalan ng bansa sa lahat itong mga taong itong marami nga yung tinatawag na nameless. Pero bigay ng lahat ng kanilang mabibigay para lang babawasan nga ang pinagdadaanan ng ating mga kababayan. Umpisa ko na muna sa hanay ng ating mga kasunduluhan at kapulisan. No? Kung titingnan natin Zamboanga, no? Ilan ho sa atin ang may alam ho kaya na yung mga kalaban na itong rogue na element sa panguna ni Nur Miswari, may mga mabigat na armas tulad nung 90 RR na tinatawag, 90mm recoilless rifle. Meron tayong mga sundalo na nakasakay doon sa mga B-150 at Simba. Itong sasakyan po ito hindi decide na parang maging ligtas pag ganun kalalakas ang armas na ginagamit sa kanila. Pero wala ho tayo nakita ni isa sa ating mga crew nitong armored vehicles na nagsabing, teka muna, no? Pwede bang umiwas muna, hindi naman ako protektado nito. At ang ginawa po nila ay talagang lumantad, pinagtanggol ang hindi man lang kakilala, hindi lang kamag-anakan, hindi man lang kaibigan, dahil yun po ang tungkulin nila at hindi nagkulang at nakita naman po niyo resulta. Kakaunti ang nawala sa ating hanay at yung hostages po ay na-rescue at marami po tayong na-arresto dito sa mga salarin na to. Sama ko na rin po ang mga kawani ng Air Force. No? Ilan ho kaya sa atin na may alam na pagkatapos dumaan ni Yolanda, sinasabi nga ho ng Pag-asa, medyo peligroso pa lumipad. Pero ating Air Force na nandun na rin sa acceptable parameters at agaran, pagdaan ni Yolanda, may mga dumating na helicopter, lulan ang mga kawani na naman ng ating sandatahan lakas para buksan yung Tacloban Airport. Siya na siyang naging dahilan para mapadala kagad isang C-130 susunod na araw lamang para magkaroon tayong komunikasyon at nandun na nga yung umpisa. Nung istrukturang akala natin ay magdadagdag lang, nung pala ay papalit o hahalinhin doon sa mga nakaupo. Sama ko na rin po ang kabinete. No? Siguro, pag tinitingnan natin sila, pag ako po'y pinupuri sa anumang bagay, sinasabi ko, hindi ko naman nagawa ito mag-isa. No? Bigyang tukoy ko lang ho, si Volts, si Mar, at saka si Dinky. Silang tatlo ho, medyo masyado madalas nagsasama sa mga araw na to. Minsan ho'y nagsasabi rin sila, baka naman dapat huwag na tayo magsama at parati marami tayong hinaharap na sakuna. Pero sa totoo lang po, excuse me, pag sinasabing may gobyerno tayong kumakalinga sa ating kapwa, hindi ko kumakalinga sa loob ng kanilang silid na naka-air condition at tahimik. Sila po ay nandun, no? Sa tinatawag na front lines, kesa sa Zamboanga, kesa sa Bohol, kesa sa Leyte. Nakakapagod do. Napakaraming mga mas magagaling sa inyong nagkikriticize. No? Almusal, tanghalian, hapunan, kuminsan pati midnight snack, kinikriticize ka. Pero habang kaya po nila, at talaga naman pinipilit kayanin ang anumang pagsubok, palagay ko wala akong magsasabing sa parehas na pananaw kung nagkulang ba itong tatlong kawani natin to. Sama ko na rin po si Mario. No? At lahat na rin po ng buong kabinete. Isipin po nyo, no? Nung nag-umpisa tayo dito sa trabahong to, tinuturo tayo ng pag-asa sa maling lugar kung saan dadaan ang bagyo. Maghahanda ang gobyerno sa maling lugar. Pero sa pangunguna po ni Secretary Montejo at sa ambag na talino, talento na napakarami niyang mga kawani, no? Talaga itinukoy kung saan ang pinakamapanganib at talaga naman pong ako'y nakakasigurong marami-rami tayong buhay na nailigtas, lalo na po doon sa mga nakinig. So rin nung pasalamatan lahat ng mga komunidad sa buong mundo, no? ng mga Pilipino na talaga namang agaran, dumamay. Kapon po 6 na mga bagong ambassador ang ating tinanggap at ang kanilang binabalita, halos sa lahat po sila. Kung saan, tulad sa Canada, meron ho tayong 750,000 na mga kababayan nandun, sila mismo ay nag-ambag-ambagan para sa tulong kay Yolanda, tulak sa kanilang gobyerno na dumamay at talaga naman pong daman-daman natin ang pagdamay ng napakaraming bansa sa buong mundo, sampunan ng ating mga komunidad sa labas ng bansa. Talaga hong sa mga pagsubok na ganito, no, hindi ho natin maiiwasan, lalo na sa umpisa, no, na may mga taong dahil nawalan ng lahat ng kaliaririan, namatayan pa, ay talagang para bang natutokso na sumuko. Paliwanag nga ho ng DSWD, na kuminsang araw ho, lalo sa umpisa-umpisa, pag naubos ang lahat sa iyo, yung pakiramdam mo ng yung pakiramdam ng tinatawag na, sorry sa English po, insecurity. No? O yung kawalan ng kakayahan rin na para ayusin ang iyong buhay o yung kinabukasan ay talaga sagad-sagaran. Kaya natural po, meron hong tinatawag nga hong pagdating nung, lalo pagdating nung relief. No? Talaga raw yung iba, kailangan makatangan ng sobra-sobra dahil na lang ang pananggan nila doon sa pagduda sa anong hinaharap nila sa kinabukasan. At pag dumating na humupa yung kanilang tensyon, no, talaga naman po nakakapunta doon sa muling pagbangon ng kanilang pag-asa at sa paglaban. Mabigat po ang ginawa, mabigat itong taon na to, pero mabigat rin itong sunod-sunod na sakunang umabot sa atin, gawa ng kalikasan o gawa ng tao. Pero palagay ko po, isa lang mapapagmalaki natin, no, hindi tayo dumarating at hindi mangungunang gobyerno nyo na sabihin panahon na sumuko. Palagay ko, itong gobyernong itinatag ng taong bayan, lalo na habang ang taong bayan mismo ang nagpapakita ng kaganapan ng paglaban, ay dapat naman pong tumugon at sumuporta dito sa paglaban ito. Napakarami pong apektado itong trahedyang ito. Pero ngayon pa lang masasabi ko na sa inyo, tila may liwanag na kung paano natin ibabangon muli. Hindi sa kagustuhan lang, ngunit sa talagang may plano at may kakayahan at meron tayong resources na iniipon o tangan na para nga maibalik ang ating mga kababayan. Hindi lang sa dati, pero kung pwede, mas maganda pa kaysa sa dati. So, palagay ko po, iksiyan ko talaga itong talumpating to. Hindi dahil sa wala na akong masasabi. Actually, yung kabakuhoy, baka sumobra sasabihin ko para mag-thank you. Nakatingin pa naman sa akin si Kim at saka si Laila. Sama ko na rin yung thank you nila. No? Pero nung may isang international event ko specifically, pero iniimbita tayo dahil nga ho doon sa ating gender issues at ano raw ba nagawa natin sa bansang to. At kadalasan binibiro ko, sabi ko baka pagdating ng 10 taon mula ngayon, hindi na ho women empowerment ang paksa natin. Baka ang paksa na raw po natin. Dahil sa atin sa Pilipinas, pag kayo nagkamali, magkita kayo ni Laila, ni Kim, ni Conchita Carpio Morales, ni Grace Polidutaan, at marami pang iba. So, mga kababayan, no? Siguro sa dulo po, isa na lang talaga mensahe ko. Alam ko maraming tanong na mabibigat itong araw na to. Kaya iiwan ko na yung oras para sa mga tanong na yon. Pero ngayon gusto ko lang talaga i-deklara sa buong sambayanan, talagang malaking karangalan na mamuno sa sambayanan tulad ng Pilipino na talaga naman po sa maski naman pagsubok, agaran, buwabalik at lumalaban. Magandang tanghali po.
Kami pong salamat, mahal na Pangulo. Hindi kami nagkamali sa pagpili sa inyo, di ba? At yung Man of Steel, siguro next year, cape na ibibigay namin sa inyo. So, di ba? Tough but compassionate. Okay. Now, as is traditional with us, the President has agreed to answer some questions from the core group. Julie, would you like to start? And then siguro si Thelma and then Dominique. Yung microphone kayo natin. There. Julie Dasa is from the Manila Bulletin and one of the co-founders of the Bulong Pulungan.
Yes. Mr. President, Merry Christmas in advance.
Merry Christmas.
I think it's safe to assume that November 8th was the worst day of your life. When Typhoon Yolanda hit, was it the worst day of your life? In 2013.
But perhaps more when the aftermath was clearer, when we got the reports exactly for the extent of the damage. So perhaps the following day.
The following day was the worst day of your life. So what was the best day of your life in 2013?
Well, so far when I went to Bohol, no, really the marked change in the people was, and I think that tells us really of the resiliency of our people. But more importantly, no, the seeming wellspring or bottomless wellspring of hope, no? And more importantly, acting on that hope to really improve their lot in life.
Okay. Last year, when you spoke before us, you began your speech by counting how many days were left
It's,
for you in Malacanang.
It's roughly about 2 years and 6 months.
2 years and 6 months to go from
Yes.
today.
There's actually a calendar on one of my staff's desks that counts down the days. I think the number is about 940 or 50 days.
940 days left.
Something like that.
Okay. What would you like to see on day 939 before you step down? And is it a doable wish? Is it an impossible dream? I'd like for you to stick to something that would be concretely available, accessible, and doable. Thank you, sir.
Well, actually the answer kasi was the attitude of the people, no? From being apathetic to really being involved. And we're seeing that now. But in terms of yung concrete manifestations of the same, siguro Terminal 1, I think, will be finished, the refurbishing by yung hopefully NLEX and SLEX, the connector will also be up and running by that time, in the TPLEX, no? Now, more importantly, is the airports will be substantially finished. Airports plural, no? Panglao, Mactan, and so many others, no? Yung at least the start of the light rail systems. But these are important by and of themselves. But I think more importantly is I really want an expression to see, no? The expression in the faces of our people, the can-do attitude, that nothing is beyond our grasp and our reach. And that is what I'm hoping to see, hopefully, not just the day before I leave, but more importantly, after I leave, that it continues and becomes stronger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Selma, would you like to ask the next? Selma San Juan of the Philippine Daily Inquirer.
Good morning, Mr. President. We feel we're glad to see you looking good and well despite the calamities. I have 2 questions. The first question is perhaps you can give the reasons yourself, although we have read it already, the main reasons you appointed Senator Lacson as rehabilitation czar, and also how your government assure transparency in the allocation of the massive foreign aid that's coming in. And the second question is, you may not be the type of person to think about it so much, but what is your reaction to what people say that your approval ratings may be affected by all these calamities? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Why Ping Lacson? Siguro Ping Lacson strikes me as a no-nonsense person. The members of the cabinet have their normal functions. Then you also have the imperative to get our people back in a better condition at the soonest possible time. So there is parang the attention is divided between the 2 obligations right off the bat. Now, having Ping Lacson at the center, wherein he's a no-nonsense guy, focused solely on will undoubtedly achieve the targets sooner. And that is, I guess, the primary reason why we looked at the unique capabilities of Mr. Lacson, Senator Lacson, to be able to deliver. Okay, yung transparency, especially for international aid, and also the other expenditures of the budget, but for international aid that is coursed through the government, there is a website called Faith that anybody can access, which shows what has been received, what has gone to. And that has been up for, I think, about 2 weeks or so. The third question, my approval ratings will go down or they'll go up. at the end of the day, the only criteria I have is did I do right? No? And sometimes the right decision may be unpopular. No? Sometimes di ba parang conversely, the wrong decision is immensely popular. But I really have to stick with doing what I believe is right. So our people, I believe, are fair judges, no? And they have been a constant source of support from throughout when we had nothing. And I guess I expect that the numbers will rebound in case they do go down. No? But that is not the important thing. The important thing is, will our people see me as doing that which is right? And that is what is important to me.
Maraming salamat po. Domini, would you like to... Domini Torrevillas of the Philippine Star. Tapos si Donnie. No, Domini first. Ladies first.
Sir, you come across as a progressive-minded male, as manifested by your support of gender issues, particularly the reproductive health bill. On my question, Pope Francis has spoken not so much for it, but then you come across to as a very liberal-minded Catholic. So my question now is, what is your thinking on the ordination of women? Are you in favor of it? And are you in favor of gay marriages? So, okay, I'll have a more serious question after you have answered this one. Okay.
I'm hesitant to answer either question, especially the second part. No, but siguro, can I avoid na lang answering the second part? I made a comment which I think was appropriate, and I made a mortal enemy of somebody because of that comment. I don't think I'm qualified to say should women be ordained. No? All those who hold titles of doctors of divinity will question my competence in answering that question. But suffice to say, I've seen a lot of nuns who became leaders for their parishes and who really made the kingdom of God more apparent by their activities and their presence than some of those more titled individuals. No? And parang women, especially for the various parishes, to be in a more decisive positions or in more stronger leadership positions is, I think, warranted, especially by the historical precedent. No? What have they demonstrated? So, as a priest, I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that. But as leaders of their parishes and their communities, and as positive, and in a sense, siguro let me put it to you this way, no? When I was running for congressman in Tarlac, you talk to the mothers' clubs. When they say yes, you can count on it forever after. When you talk to some of the barangay captains who happen to be male, you talk to them in the course of the campaign, mga 5 times, and you aren't sure up to election day whether or not they are with you. So my experience, especially with women in public service, has been very, very positive. Okay. So can we go to the more important question? Or the more serious question?
The more serious question, though.
About gay marriages, sir?
I stated before that parang on one side of me says, yung human rights are supposed to be universal. On the other hand, I can't help, parang if we go into gay marriages, then syempre the next step will be adoption. And I don't know if, I still have to look at it from the child's perspective. Is that something that that is desirable in an environment for a child? No? In understanding the world to induce more confusion. And that particular comment got me into the crosshairs of an individual who up to this day hates me for saying it.
Okay, Dom, the serious one.
Yes, my second question is, if Manny Pacquiao is proven to have evaded, paying his taxes, will you, and he is meted, I don't know what the penalty would be, would you grant him amnesty?
Amnesty is, by proposal by me, has to normally indicate para a class of individuals, para a group. Doesn't refer to normally to an individual. And also Congress has to approve. No? So, end of the day, parang I think the lesson has to be that if you are guilty of a particular crime, no, then we have to exhibit a degree of remorse. But at this point in time, he says that he has complied with all the requirements. So I think this is crossing the bridge that is too far away.
Thank you, Dom. Joanne, Dominic, I said Donnie Ramirez.
We were told, Mr. President, that no questions today about your love life.
Thank you.
We will abide by that, so I'll go serious this time. Within the next 940 days or so of your current presidency,
Correct. One-term
2 years
presidency.
of your current, I mean, maybe another one, right? So what is the one thing that you want to accomplish within that period for which you want to be remembered by the country? Is there one single thing that you want to accomplish?
Our mantra is inclusive growth, no? And that's why we are striving. Now, number one, we don't subscribe to the trickle-down theory. We are trying to find all interventions where people can participate in the economic growth of our country. What does that mean? No? There's been massive investments in education, basic education, hence the K-12 scheme, but also in higher education. But more importantly, we're also expanding the proposal before Congress, and hopefully they approve it, is an expanded conditional cash transfer program wherein we will continue the assistance up to high school. There is a study by the Philippine Institute for Developmental Studies, a recent study that states there is a 40% premium on income or ability to generate income for a high school graduate over that of a grade school graduate. So, again, in the idea of being, when we talk about farmers, massive rehabilitation for the coconut industry was a plan even before Yolanda. Now, the only requirement government will have to assist all of these farmers will be for them to intercrop various crops, so it's coffee, cacao, corn, and others. Now, if they are suitable for coffee, for instance, from 20,000 per hectare per annum, the income can conceivably rise to over 170,000 per hectare per annum by intercropping. So, not only the income percent, but the attitude of really maximizing the asset that you have is also part of our core philosophies. So if I want to be remembered for anything, we enabled people to really participate in the economic growth of this country. And it's exhibited by having this attitude of nothing can do and nothing is impossible and nothing is beyond the reach.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Joanne? And then Ida, do you want? And
Good
then
morning
Chai.
again, Mr. President.
Morning, John.
What do you think will define your presidency? And is it the way you handled two women, Yolanda and Janet?
I think that's part of it, but our ability to handle, siguro you contrast, going to these areas, getting just the initial information, did you think we'll get any data from them para right after Yolanda passed through, And again, I have to compliment the people who took the risks, the chopper pilots and the crew of the helicopters that proceeded from Samar and went directly to Tacloban to reopen the airport so that assistance brought by the C-130 could start happening and the personnel necessary. Pag-asa, for instance, amongst others, has been I think widely praised and acknowledged as a source of correct and timely information. That was not a given when we started. I guess at the end of the day, you had the government that's truly worthy of these people who are so great, that they provided a milieu and they were mutually supportive that enabled everybody to reach their potentials. So I'll refine that phrase at some point in time. I'll sit down with my writers, but that is more or less the idea.
On your most difficult day, what helps you get up in the morning?
May mantra rin ako Pag yung talagang ayaw mo nang bumangon, lalo na bago ipasok yung dyaryo na good news, Para mantra namin. Tsaka marami rin nag-adapt yata para sa bayan. So,
Para sa bayan is your mantra.
Pag inatrasa mo naman kasi, parang yung, kunyari mo, papatalo ka, di ba? Pinabayaan mo yung bayan naman siguro lalabas nun. So, natatawa ako dahil kuminsan pati yung, I forgot to mention, pati yung PSG for instance, no? Parang papasok ka sa PSG, diisip mo, normally, ceremonial activities, friendly lahat ng kausap mo, etc. Ilang kaya nag-isip na matutulog na naman sila sa open field no, sa Bohol, amongst other things. Or may iwan sa Zamboanga na hindi naman nasabihan kung gaano katagal hanggang ma-resolve. Na medyo naging inventive kung paano maasikaso yung kanilang clothes, no, amongst other things. So, I guess that's it, bottom line. Everything we do affects so many people and there is no time like the present and preferably to have done things in the past already. Dahil nga, at the end of the day, para sa bayan lahat to. And the bayan has faces. There are people that are directly affected by our acts and by our omissions.
Maraming salamat, Mr. President.
Okay. Si Aida Sevilla po ng Philippine Daily Inquirer. Yung motor nila.
Mr. President, judging from the amount of publicity he gets, it appears that Secretary Mar Rojas is being groomed to run for president in 2016. Will you either confirm or deny?
Would the Secretary of the Interior, given all of the calamities that have befallen us, man-made and natural, be of service if he were absent from the scenes? Yeah. So that is just but a function of the job. And again, I want to get down to the people as much as possible. My alter egos perform that function also for me. Is he being grouped? Our party has not decided on that. We have not discussed it. We are focused on solving the problems of today.
But you know more or less who will be the opponent.
Well, I know of several people who want to be the opponent. And perhaps they are not saying that they are the opponents at this point in time. Some of them will be entertaining the idea perhaps that they might be our candidate also.
I'm sure somebody has already declared
Thank you.
his ambition to become president.
There are several that have declared their ambition.
Okay,
But
thank you.
man proposes, divine God disposes.
Judy says you might sit down. You can answer
No,
questions.
no, I'm
sitting
fine, I'm
down.
fine.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's okay. Who else? Chai?
Does that mean we have 2 hours of questions pa?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Chai Santiago, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. You did not plan to be president, but now I see you as very much more comfortable with the position. If you could turn back the hands of time, given all the burdens of presidency, would you still have run for the presidency?
And the way I answered it then, and I think that's still valid up to now, is that both my father and my mother said something to the effect that if they could have done something and they chose not to, then they wouldn't have been able to live with themselves. And going in, I had I didn't have rose-tinted glasses. I knew how difficult this would be, especially coming after my predecessor. But at the end of the day, could I have said, teka muna, bakit naman sosolohin ko itong problemang to? O bakit akin lahat yung problemang yan? Sumama yung sitwasyon, tinignan ko sarili ko sa salamin, sinabi ko, di ba mag-umpisa kuha ko na dyan, ganito ginawa ko. Parang ayoko naman umabot sa pagsisisi na gusto kong masabi, pinilit kong gawin lahat ng magagawa ko. At kung may resulta maganda, maraming salamat. At kung hindi naman, parang at least hindi ako sumukot, hindi ako matras.
Thank you. Yeah. What could you have done better? Do you think you could have done better in these areas? 1, selecting your people around you. 2, being more calling the support of media, students, laborers, or the elite.
Yung people around me. When you talk about the cabinet, I'm very, very satisfied with the bulk, if not the majority, if not most of them, all the time. Yung self-starters at saka advocates, you don't have to tell them what to do. By the time you're asking the question, for the most part, they're already ready with the answer. Okay. Now, the second part, if I understood the question correctly, how could I have rallied support amongst the sectors that you mentioned? So I should throw the question to you. How does one actually, I've appealed I've complained. I've given time, for instance, especially to media. And I'm sure between you and I, we can point to so many columnists who've never said anything nice about me. No? So I prayed for them also. No? And I mean that not in jest. No? I really have prayed for enlightenment for a lot of these people. Yung siguro the message simply was, what you put down, no, the lives of people. And are you confident that what you put down helped them? Okay. Now, labor, I think for the most part, we have had a very good relationship with labor. Dole is very proud to talk about the number of strikes. I think I'm sorry, no, I'll have to check with Linda Baldos, pero parang no ongoing strike, no, was reported several periods. No, I'll have to give you the periods. Sorry, students, I think most of the core volunteers who helped us in all of these disasters, be it Pablo, di ba? Sendong, Yolanda, Sandy, have come from the ranks of the studentry. I was talking to a student from PUP, and one would think that in PUP would produce a lot of radicals, no? But this guy was so focused on being, he's in IT, and actually proving his skills, and of how he was actually giving me so many suggestions on how things can be done better. No? So, naka-focus on others as opposed to paano ba ako aasenso. And from somebody na iniisip mo pag nakaharap mo, para ba may isang Biblia na nareklamo mo bit. So, I guess that's we have a different perception, and if I may go, normally my survey results are supposed to be very good. And I assume the 70% or so represents a broad cross-section of our people.
Okay. Mandy, do you have your voice back? Not yet. Okay. Okay.
Mr. President, with due respect, you cough continuously. You should take care of your health.
Baka kailangan mag-file ng leave of absence ng mga isang buwan.
Wag muna, sir, not now.
No, but seriously, no, parang when you go out, in Bohol in particular, there was this bridge. One of them, syempre, bridge, no, over a river. Tapos may river cruises road doon. At any time, may fireflies. Basta night, at walang ulan.
Yeah.
So, when they were talking about it, I guess my face really lightened up and brightened up. Si Babe Singson and Dinky Soliman, who were with me at that point in time, parang tinignan ako, sir, may meeting tayo in Yolanda tomorrow. Dahil parang nabasa nila na magmumukha, ay ba nyo mag-overnight dito at makita natin itong firefly, magkaroon tayo ng post. No. Pero again, they're as committed, more committed than I am. They wanted to go back home and finish the presentations they were showing me on the second cabinet meeting on Yolanda.
I think, sir, Mr. President, you should have checked the doctor.
There are several doctors.
It's an indication of inflammation.
Yeah, there are several doctors who, even without being consulted, no, normally pass by and examine me, whether physically or at a distance.
And
I assure you there's a constant reminders from those who take care of my health.
Thank you, Mandy. Sandy, would you like to ask?
Sandy, bakit ikaw lang ang may hat this year? Oh. The others are not keeping with the tradition.
Hindi po. Actually, lahat ho sila binigyan beforehand, pero nagkalimutan ho. I was the only one who remembered. Yeah, they said it's not age appropriate. Before I ask the question, before I ask my original question, I got a message earlier from one of our business friends that we're backing out of APEC. Sir, is that true?
There is a proposal, but I was saying that is there a need to do so? I don't. At this point, I don't agree.
Yeah, sir. If it will make the cabinet or the government feel better, we from the business sector are like really behind you, and we wish and hope and pray that we push through with APEC because it's really going to do the country a world of good. So we're all behind you. If you need anything, we're all here from the business sector.
In fairness to that particular cabinet member, yung given the enormity of the reconstruction rehabilitation efforts for Yolanda, he was thinking na shouldn't this be the sole priority in a sense, no, at this point in time?
Well, sir, we've
Yeah.
been through worse. I think we can we can do it. Yeah. Another thing I'd like to ask you is, everybody keeps saying that the presidency is such a thankless job. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But at the end of the day, what makes it worth it for you?
Babalik ako sa tao. Yeah. Again, I go back to the most recent example, yung sa Bohol. I mean, siguro I can expect na pag kanyari Yolanda, naghahanap ka ng sisisihin. Ako yung hepe ng bansang to, ako sisihin. No? Pero hindi ko nadama yun. No? Para bang presence lang, na-appreciate na in so many of these areas. No? Hindi yung dala-dala mong truck ng relief goods, for instance. No? Yung kakayahan na makipagdialogo na constant keeps me going talaga. At the end of the day, I am confident that I rely on our people, and the people will always be true to me.
Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. Joanna, meron ka pa ba? May follow-up ka? One, sige. Miss Julie.
Mr. President, this question is from out of left field, but I'm sure you can handle it. In 3 years' time, 2016, do you think Chris Aquino will be ready for national politics and to throw her hat into the ring? National politics.
In the latest pronouncement I heard from her was she's aiming to be the perfect stage mother.
That role will be so natural to her. She won't have to plan for it. Would you advise her against running for a national position in 2016 or even a local position? Because she's so popular, she might be even more popular than you sometimes.
Most probably. But the bottom line is, I adhere to that saying by the Americans, I think, who said that if you want to get even with somebody, get them into politics. And I love my sister. If she feels driven, at this point in time, the last time she made the pronouncement, concerned about the topic of being a stage mother. And of course, Joshua's achievements.
Okay. So, no more questions from the core? I'd like to close it with my question. Mr. President, it's easy. What is your Christmas wish that you haven't wished in the last 4 years?
Siguro lalo na ngayon, di ba? Parang kapayapaan talaga. Parang wala na tayo. Sana natapos na yung libro ng problema natin itong taon na to. At next year, di ba? Parang special start of the new year. One says there's so many opportunities that are coming. And I really hope that our people maintain the optimism and the can-do attitude that is already being nurtured at this point in time.
Yes.
So the wish really centers on hopefully there are no more challenges of this magnitude this year.
This one. Well, from your sisters, they miss you already during your Sunday lunches, sir.
Pati nga yung pagdalaw sa daddy on November 27 was the day we had the cabinet meeting on Yolanda.
Yes,
I think
sir.
that's the first time I missed that particular occasion.
Yes, sir. So, family is still first with you, sir, after country. Okay. As Donnie said, no questions about your love life. Okay. We'll just speculate.
Okay.
Maraming
Thank you.
salamat po, Mr. President. Bigyan natin ng masibagong pampa. Photo op na? Oo. Yes daw. Mr. President, kung pwede lang po mag-photo op yung core group tapos yung mga awardees. Okay.
Ating niyo pong napakinggan ang mga naging pahayag ni Pangulo Aquino. Sa una pong bahagi ng kanyang pagsasalita, binuhay ni Pangulo Aquino ang pag-asa ng mga Pilipino sa harap ng mga pinagdadaanang trahedya, bunsod ng kalamidad at iba pang uri ng sakuna.
With your indulgence, Co-chief is here. Can we have a replay of her award? Please.
Sinabi po ni Pangulong Aquino na pagkatapos nga daw po ng mga unos na nangyari sa bansa, unti-unti nang nakikita ang liwanag dahil may kasapatan naman daw pong pondo ang pamahalaan para tugunan ang kailangang rehabilitasyon. Sa unang bahagi pa rin po ng kanyang talumpati dito sa Bulong Pulungan tao ng Christmas party, binigyan na diin niya yung kanyang naging pagbisita sa Bohol, kung saan nga po ay sinabi nito yung kanyang naging paghanga sa mga Boholanos na sa kabila daw po ng matinding trahedya ay nakabangon. Si Miss Grace Pulido Tan ay ilalamang po sa mga tumanggap ng Exemplar Award for Courage and Integrity. Kasama na po sina Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales at si Justice Secretary Laila de Lima. Pinakalooban din po si Robert Vergara, President and General Manager ng GSIS for Corporate Governance, habang pinarangalan din po sina BIR Chief Kim Hinares at DOST Secretary Mario Montejos. Si Pangulong Aquino po ay binigyan din ng award, Standing Exemplar Award Man of Steel, dahil daw po sa pagiging compassionate nito at yung po daw kanyang naging mga aksyon para labanan po ang korupsyon sa bansa at ituloy ang sinatawag na tuwid na daan. Naging bahagi rin po ng talumpati ni Pangulong Aquino yung kanyang pagkilala po sa mga nagawa rin o tulong ng kanyang cabinet members na sa kabila nga daw po ng mga tinatanggap na batikos ay nagpatuloy sa kanilang pagtatrabaho, dahil hindi naman daw po kasi biro ang mga naging pinsala na tumama sa bansa. Katulad po na dulot ng Santi, Pablo, Yolanda, na sabi ng Pangulo ay in-spell ay spy, pero wag naman daw po sana na madagdagan pa ito. O tinukay ng Pangulo yung naging trabaho ni na Defense Secretary Volter Gasmin, DILG Secretary Marojas at TSWD Secretary Dinky Salaman. Kasama na rin po si DOST Secretary Mario Montejo. Dito pinapurihan ni Pangulong Aquino rin yung po daw mga sundalo na matapang na ginanap tumugon sa kanilang mga tungkulin dito po sa nangyaring Zamboanga standoff. At ito na nga po ang pinakahuli nga ay yung naging pagkilos ng pamahalaan dito po sa naging epekto ng Super Typhoon Yolanda sa bahagi ng Kabisayaan. Sa open forum si Pangulong Aquino kung bakit daw po ang napili niya italaga bilang rehabilitation SAR ay si dating Senador Pamphilo Lacson. Sinabi ng Pangulo na nakikita po niya yung kakayahan nito na maipatupad ng maayos at epektibo yung massive rehabilitation, dahil ito daw po yung kinakailangang mabilisin para maipabot ang kaukulang tulong. Hindi na daw po dapat magbigay pa ng duda o question sa pagiging masikap o yung credibility daw po at ang kakayahan ni dating Senador Pamphilo Lacson. Muli rin iginiit na Pangulong Aquino yung transparency dun sa sinasabing international donors. Sabi niya meron po itinayong website ang pamahalaan kung saan po makikita ng publiko kung saan po napunta yung mga pondo na i-donate po mula po sa international community. Doon po sa isang mahalaga pa rin sinabi ng Pangulo dun sa sinabi niya 940 days na lang po yung nalalabi sa kanyang panunungkulan, pero sa 939 days tinanong po siya dito kung ano daw po yung pinakagusto niyang makita sa mga Pilipino. Ang sinabi po niya ay mapanatili o maging matapang ang mga Pilipino at sana daw po ay maging bahagi na ng katauhan ng mga Pilipino yung pag-asa na talagang yung attitude nila na may malaking makabangon ang Pilipinas at binigyan din pa rin po niya yung sinasabing gusto niya talaga makita bago siya bumaba sa pwesto, yung gusto niya ma-attain na inclusive growth. About approval rating, sinabi niya ang mahalaga sa kanya, gagawin niya ang tama at para sa pambansang interes. At doon kay DILG Secretary Mar Rojas, kung pwede daw pong ginugroom na tumakbo sa pagkapangulo. Sinabi niya na hindi pa daw po na pag-uusapan ito ng partido dahil nakafocus daw po ang atensyon ng gabinete at ng kanyang pamunuan sa malawakang rehabilitasyon ng bansa. Bunsod pa rin po ng mga tumamang kalamidad at iba pang uri ng sakuna sa Pilipinas. At inyo pong natunghayan ang ika-27 taunang Bulong Pulungan Christmas Party na dinaluhan ni Pangulong Aquino dito sa Sofitel Philippine Plaza sa tulong po ng RTVM at ng PTV. Ako po si Rocky Ignacio. Magandang araw po sa inyo.